You escaped the alien bride. But she's already waiting in your cockpit. The Vanguard drifted through the silent expanse of uncharted space, stars flickering like distant lanterns against the black canvas of the universe. Captain Ryan Hale leaned back in his pilot's chair, fingers resting lightly on the controls, feeling the quiet hum of the engines through the floor. Space had always been a place of freedom for him, a place where human instincts and courage mattered more than politics, rules, or alien hierarchies. He had navigated through asteroid storms, pirate blockades, and even alien patrols, but this stretch of emptiness was calm, almost serene. It was a rare moment of peace. Ryan's eyes scanned the readouts, the soft glow of the instrument panels reflecting on his rugged face. He adjusted the ship's course slightly, keeping the Vanguard on a path through a cluster of minor asteroid fields. A ripple of satisfaction ran through him. The ship moved smoothly under his hands, responding to every command with a precision that only came from years of piloting experience. The quiet was suddenly broken by a sharp ping from the ship's sensors. Ryan's brow furrowed as he glanced at the monitor. It wasn't the usual asteroid movement or a distant signal. It was something else, a presence inside the ship. He straightened immediately, instincts kicking in. Unauthorized presence inside his ship was never a good sign. Pirates, smugglers, or worse, an enemy spy, were possibilities he couldn't ignore. Ryan gripped the control stick, heart quickening, and made his way toward the sensor alert. The hallway was narrow, lit by the soft white glow of overhead lights. Each step echoed in the quiet corridors. Ryan checked every corner, scanning for movement, expecting a figure in human form. He rounded the last corner and froze. She was there. Sitting cross-legged in the cockpit chair, her posture calm and unnervingly composed, was a woman, but not human. Ryan blinked, expecting some trick of the lights, but the sight was real. Her skin shimmered with a faint metallic glow, shifting subtly with every movement. Her eyes were large, luminous, and the color of liquid sapphire. Strange markings traced her jawline and collarbones, intricate and symmetrical, glowing faintly in rhythm with her breathing. Ryan's instincts demanded caution, but curiosity pulled at him as well. "Who are you?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The woman tilted her head slightly, a small, knowing smile curling her lips. "I'm Lyra," she said, her voice melodic yet firm. "I didn't mean to intrude, I only wanted to escape." "Escape," Ryan repeated, narrowing his eyes. "From what?" Her gaze met his without hesitation. "From them," she said simply. "My people, I was being forced into a marriage I did not choose. I ran." Ryan's mind raced. The story was plausible, but space had taught him that appearances could be deceiving. Every alien had an agenda. Still, there was something in her demeanor, a mixture of calm and urgency that made him hesitate. He studied her closely. She wasn't armed, at least not visibly, and there was a vulnerability in her stance that spoke of someone used to being controlled, then thrown into uncertainty. "Running isn't easy," he said cautiously. "Do you understand what you're asking? You're on a human ship." "I don't know if I can trust you." Lyra's expression softened, but her eyes remained steady. "I understand. I have no choice but to trust you as much as you might trust me. I only ask for a chance to get away from them." Ryan studied her for a long moment. His instincts screamed caution, but something about her presence, something about her confidence and composure in a completely foreign environment, intrigued him. He gave a small nod. "Fine. You stay in your chair until we figure out a plan. Don't touch anything." Lyra inclined her head gracefully. "Of course." Ryan stepped back to the controls and began rerouting power to the ship's stealth systems. He had learned the hard way that alien patrols were relentless and often far superior in technology. Evading them required more than speed. It required wit and ingenuity. While Ryan worked, Lyra watched him, her expression unreadable. After a few moments, she finally spoke again. "Your ship, it is well designed, faster than anything I've seen in my sector." "Your species adapts quickly," Ryan smirked slightly. "You notice that, huh? Humans have a way of making even old tech do what newer tech can't." There was a hint of amusement in Lyra's eyes, but she didn't respond verbally. Ryan's mind raced. Here was a creature from another world, unfamiliar, and yet already analyzing him, sizing up his capabilities. That was unusual. Before he could say anything further, the ship's sensors pinged again, faint but unmistakable. Pursuers. Ryan's heart rate spiked. He hadn't detected them until now, which meant they were skilled at stealth, probably using cloaked vessels. "Looks like we don't have much time," he muttered, fingers flying over the controls. You said you were running from someone. Guess they found you faster than you expected. Lyra's eyes narrowed, a flash of determination crossing her face. I told you I will not return. Ryan nodded, appreciating her resolve. Good, because if they catch us, neither of us survives. He adjusted the ship's course, diving toward an asteroid field. The sensors lit up, mapping the jagged rocks and debris. We'll use the terrain, he explained. Aliens may have better sensors than humans, but they're predictable. They'll follow the path and we'll be ready. Lyra observed silently. Then almost casually she said, If you allow me, I can help you. Ryan glanced at her. Help me how? Your species relies heavily on reaction and improvisation. Mine relies on prediction and pattern. I can anticipate their moves based on what I know of them. Together, we can escape. He raised an eyebrow. And why should I trust you? You might be leading them to me. Lyra's gaze held his for a long moment. Because I would not survive if they catch me, and neither would you if you are foolish enough to trust no one. Ryan chuckled, shaking his head, but there was truth in her words. In deep space, alliances were fragile, but survival required cooperation. He leaned back in his chair. All right, we work together, but one wrong move. You'll know, she interrupted smoothly. He nodded. Good, then let's move. The Vanguard dove into the asteroid field. Rocks the size of small buildings hurtled past them. Ryan twisted the controls, guiding the ship with practiced precision. The larger rocks threatened to crush them, but he weaved between them with instinctive grace. From the corner of his eye, he saw Lyra moving, quick, almost liquid in her motion. She didn't interfere with the controls, but she seemed to anticipate hazards before they appeared. Ryan realized she was right. Her species, pattern recognition, was extraordinary. She called out warnings, guiding him past blind spots and unstable debris. By the time the patrol ship's sensors should have locked on, the Vanguard was already out of range, hidden among the asteroid shadows. Ryan allowed himself a moment of relief. You're not bad at this, he said quietly. Lyra's lips curved into a small smile. Nor are you. For a moment the tension in the cockpit eased, but Ryan knew this was only the beginning. Whoever was after Lyra would not stop, and neither could they. He stole a glance at her, her eyes reflecting the flickering light of distant stars. She was alien, unpredictable, and yet impressive. The quiet returned, but it was different now. It was charged with possibility, danger, and the unknown. Ryan realized that he had been drawn into something far bigger than a simple rescue mission. This was a test of human skill, ingenuity, and courage, against a civilization that expected obedience and predictability. As the Vanguard drifted further from the asteroid field, Ryan and Lyra settled into a tense rhythm. They were allies for now, bound by circumstance and necessity. Both knew that trust had yet to be earned, but both understood one simple truth. In space, the unexpected was the only certainty. And the galaxy was full of it. The Vanguard glided through the shadow of distant stars, its sleek hull reflecting faint glimmers of light. Captain Ryan Hale kept his hands steady on the controls, eyes scanning the readouts. Even after months in space, the sudden presence of an unknown alien still kept his senses sharp. He had survived countless skirmishes, ambushes, and cosmic hazards, yet this new situation carried a different kind of tension. Lyra sat across from him in the co-pilot's chair, her luminous eyes quietly observing every movement. Though she remained still, Ryan could sense her awareness, her mind constantly analyzing the ship, the controls, and most importantly, him. It was unsettling and impressive at the same time. The silence stretched until Ryan broke it. We're moving fast enough to stay ahead for now, he said, his voice calm but edged with alertness. But your people, they won't give up. Not easily. Lyra nodded, her expression serious. They underestimate humans, she said softly. They think predictability is universal. I've seen it before. They plan and they expect others to follow patterns. But your species, you adapt. You improvise. That is why I trust this chance. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Trust? You barely know me. She smiled faintly, a glimmer of mischief in her gaze. Trust is earned, but sometimes the situation leaves no other choice. Before Ryan could respond, the sensors beeped sharply. A cluster of blips appeared on the main monitor, pursuers. Lyra's people were closing in faster than he expected. He swore under his breath and adjusted the controls. All right, let's see if human instinct still works against alien precision. The patrol ships were small but fast, equipped with advanced cloaking technology and targeting systems Ryan had never seen in human-built crafts. Their movements were precise, coordinated, almost mechanical. Humans would have called it a trap. Aliens called it predictable. Ryan knew one thing for sure: he had to think differently. He swerved the Vanguard toward a nearby asteroid belt, calculating the angles and gaps in the jagged rock formations. "We'll use the terrain to our advantage," he muttered. Machines can track patterns, but they can't react like a human mind can. Lyra leaned forward, her eyes scanning the tactical display. "I can anticipate their strategy. They will assume you will avoid direct confrontation. Then they will try to herd you into open space where they have full advantage. We can counter that." Ryan grinned despite the tension. "Finally, someone who speaks my language." He initiated a sharp maneuver, diving through a narrow corridor between two massive asteroids. The patrol ships followed, but their movements were slightly delayed. They didn't expect Ryan to take the narrowest path. A small explosion rocked one of the alien ships as it clipped a rock, forcing the others to hesitate. "Good thinking," Lyra said, a faint admiration in her voice. "Humans are unpredictable in ways my people rarely consider," Ryan smirked. "That's the point." As they navigated the field, Ryan noticed that Lyra wasn't just observing, she was contributing in subtle ways. Her hands didn't touch the controls, yet her presence seemed to guide him. She would point out tiny asteroids in his peripheral vision or warn of a debris cluster approaching faster than sensors detected. Ryan realized that her species had abilities that complemented human instincts perfectly. Despite the adrenaline, Ryan felt a flicker of curiosity. "Tell me more about your world," he asked cautiously. "Why would anyone want to force you into a marriage?" Lyra's expression darkened. "Power," she said simply. "My family's influence is political. Marriage alliances are used to control factions. I refused, and that made me a target. Some wanted me out of the way. Others wanted to use me as leverage." Ryan frowned. Humans often fought for similar reasons: control, power, influence, but this was on a galactic scale. "So they'd chase you across space just to make an example?" Lyra nodded. "Exactly. They underestimate human resilience. That is why I came here." I needed someone capable of thinking differently. Ryan's mind whirred with the possibilities. "You think I can outsmart them?" She met his gaze without hesitation. "I know you can." The compliment was unexpected, and Ryan felt a rare sense of pride. But there was no time for self-reflection. The patrol ships had recovered from the asteroid collision and were moving in for another attack. He adjusted the Vanguard's thrusters, weaving unpredictably, baiting the pursuers into overextending their maneuvers. "Follow my lead," he said. "We'll make them chase shadows." Lyra inclined her head. "I'll warn you if they change strategy." For the next hour, the Vanguard darted and twisted through asteroid corridors, dodging attacks, creating false signals, and using the shadows of massive rocks to remain hidden. Each maneuver was a test of human intuition against alien prediction algorithms. Ryan's hands moved instinctively, guided by a combination of experience, risk assessment, and gut instinct. Lyra's quiet guidance ensured they stayed one step ahead. Finally, they reached a clearing, a relatively open area between two massive asteroid clusters. Ryan paused, scanning for threats. "We've shaken them off for now," he said. Lyra studied the sensors. "Not completely. They are regrouping. They will adapt to our tactics. We must consider the next step carefully." Ryan leaned back, taking a deep breath. "You know, I never thought I'd be running a rescue operation for an alien princess, but here we are." Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "I am not a princess. Titles mean nothing where survival is at stake," Ryan chuckled. "Semantics aside, you're impressive." Most people would have panicked by now. Her eyes held his, steady and unwavering. "Most humans would have panicked too. That is why I came to you. Your species adapts in ways my people rarely anticipate. You are resourceful." Ryan nodded, acknowledging the compliment but keeping his attention on the sensors. "Resourceful, maybe. Reckless sometimes, definitely. But I've learned that thinking fast and acting faster is often the only way to survive." They remained in the quiet clearing for a few minutes, letting the tension ebb slightly. Lyra broke the silence. "Your species, you value freedom above all else. That is why you survive where others fail. You do not obey blindly. You improvise. That is admirable." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Admirable, huh? I guess I'll take it." Their brief respite was interrupted by an incoming transmission. The monitor flickered, showing a small image of a stern-looking alien, its features sharp and angular, eyes glowing faintly. "Lyra," the alien said, voice cold and commanding, "you cannot escape your destiny, return immediately or face consequences." Lyra stiffened but remained seated. "I will not return," she replied firmly. Ryan watched the interaction closely, noting every movement, every subtle reaction. "They think threats will work on you," he muttered. "Doesn't look like it." The alien's image shifted slightly, displaying a series of rapid symbols. Ryan could only guess it was a threat or a warning, but Lyra's calm response surprised him. "They rely on fear," she explained. "But fear alone cannot control me. They misjudge humans the same way." Ryan studied her closely. "Misjudge humans, you mean me?" Lyra's expression softened. "Yes, you surprise me. Your instincts, your improvisation, they are unlike anything my people expect. That is why I chose to trust you, even without certainty." Ryan shook his head in disbelief. "You really like to complicate things, don't you?" A faint smile appeared on Lyra's face. "Complication is survival." The conversation ended and the alien image vanished. Ryan glanced at Lyra. "Looks like they won't give up easily. We'll have to stay ahead and maybe teach them a lesson they didn't expect." Lyra's eyes sparkled faintly. "I am ready if you are. Your instincts will guide us and I will complement them. Together we may survive what seems impossible." Ryan nodded. He had faced impossible odds before, but this was different. It was not just skill and courage against raw danger. It was ingenuity and adaptability against a civilization that underestimated human unpredictability. The vanguard surged forward, engines humming with quiet determination. Ryan adjusted the course, weaving through the stars with precision. Lyra sat beside him, calm but alert, every sense tuned to the unfolding danger. For the first time, Ryan felt that he wasn't alone, not in the cold expanse of space, not against the forces pursuing them. They were partners bound by necessity, trust, and a shared determination to survive. And survival, Ryan knew, was only the first step. The galaxy was wide, unpredictable, and full of threats, but he also knew one thing clearly. Humans were resilient, adaptable, and unyielding. If he could rely on his instincts and work with Lyra's insight, even the most advanced alien forces would struggle to outthink him. The chase was far from over, but for now, Ryan allowed himself a rare smile. The adventure had only just begun, and he intended to see it through, using every ounce of human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability that had brought him this far. The vanguard glided through the darkness of space, engines whispering against the silence. Captain Ryan Hale leaned forward, eyes fixed on the tactical display. The patrol ships that had been chasing Lyra were now regrouping, their movements precise and calculated. They were relentless in a way that only a highly advanced civilization could be. But Ryan was not worried. He had survived impossible odds before. Lyra sat beside him, calm and alert. Her luminous eyes scanned the sensors, noticing patterns and anticipating maneuvers before Ryan even considered them. "They are predicting our route," she said quietly. "They expect you to continue in a straight line through the nebula. It is a trap," Ryan nodded. "Then we don't take the straight line." He pressed a series of controls, and the vanguard suddenly dove toward a dense field of gas clouds. The sensors flickered as the nebula interfered with navigation systems, creating visual distortions. The alien patrol ships followed cautiously, their algorithms struggling to adjust to the unpredictable environment. Lyra leaned closer. "Use the clouds to mask our heat signature. Move slowly at first, then accelerate in bursts. They will expect constant speed." Ryan followed her advice, his hands moving instinctively over the controls. He had never encountered a pilot like Lyra. Her knowledge of alien strategies and her insight into their technology made her a valuable ally, even if he didn't fully trust her yet. As the vanguard twisted and turned through the nebula, Ryan felt the thrill of the chase. Every decision mattered. One wrong move could mean the end, not just for him, but for Lyra as well. Yet he felt alive in a way he never did on safe, quiet missions. Space was meant for those who could think and act fast, and right now, he was testing the limits of human ingenuity against alien precision. Suddenly, the sensors beeped furiously. A patrol ship had broken formation and was heading straight for them. Ryan's heart raced. "They're trying to split us," he shouted. Lyra's eyes flickered. "Then we divide their focus. I can guide you through a secondary path. Follow my lead and we can outmaneuver them." Ryan didn't hesitate. He pushed the controls forward, spiraling through the nebula's dense gases. The clouds obscured their movements, making it impossible for the patrol ship's targeting systems to lock on. Small bursts from the Vanguard's thrusters created unpredictable trajectories, and Ryan smiled as the alien ship struggled to follow. "You humans, you are unpredictable," Lyra said, almost impressed. Ryan grinned. "I told you that's what makes us dangerous." The patrol ship attempted a sudden acceleration, trying to cut off their path. Ryan anticipated it and veered sharply toward a cluster of floating asteroids. The alien ship hesitated for a moment, calculating its next move. That hesitation was all Ryan needed. He pushed the ship through a narrow passage between two massive rocks, the hull scraping slightly against the surface. Sparks flew, but the ship remained intact. Lyra let out a small breath. "Impressive. You would have survived if you were alone, but with my guidance, we are almost untouchable." Ryan glanced at her. "Almost?" She gave a faint smile. "Nothing is certain, but we have a chance." The Vanguard continued through the nebula, weaving and spiraling with precision. Ryan felt a growing respect for Lyra. Despite her calm demeanor, she was sharp, quick-thinking, and resourceful. She had escaped an entire civilization and now helped him navigate an impossible chase. Her presence was unsettling in its intensity, but he couldn't deny that she was invaluable. Hours passed, and the alien patrol ships began to fall behind. Ryan allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. "Looks like we shook them off for now." Lyra studied the sensors carefully. "Not completely. They are retreating temporarily to regroup. They will return stronger and more cautious. We must prepare." Ryan nodded, knowing she was right. "We'll need a plan, and we'll need to be unpredictable again. They won't expect what comes next." Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination. "Then we will give them something they cannot predict, together." Ryan felt a surge of confidence. The human mind, he realized, could achieve remarkable things when combined with insight and strategy from another species. Lyra's abilities complemented his instincts perfectly. Together, they were stronger than any patrol ship chasing them. As the Vanguard emerged from the nebula, Ryan set a course toward a nearby asteroid belt that lay ahead. The belt was dense and dangerous, but it offered opportunities. He would use it to their advantage, creating confusion and forcing the patrol ships into mistakes. Lyra leaned over the tactical display. "I can predict their next move. They will assume you will go around the belt slowly, using minimal thrust. That is their error." Ryan's grin widened. "Then we'll do the opposite, full speed, direct through the heart of it." The Vanguard shot forward, engines blazing. The patrol ships hesitated at the edge of the belt, uncertain about following such a risky maneuver. Ryan twisted and banked, dodging massive rocks and debris with astonishing precision. The aliens followed cautiously, their algorithms struggling to adapt. Lyra guided him through, warning of hidden dangers, debris that sensors missed, and gravitational shifts from the larger asteroids. Ryan moved instinctively, relying on experience, quick thinking, and his own intuition. Every twist and turn was a test, every decision critical. Halfway through the belt, Ryan noticed a faint energy signature on the sensors. "What's that?" he asked. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. "A trap. They have deployed an energy net. If we fly through it, the ship will be immobilized." Ryan's mind raced. He could see the net on the tactical display, glowing faintly as it pulsed through the asteroid field. He needed to act fast. "We'll need to break it apart with the thrusters. Full reverse, then forward in a zigzag pattern. Follow my timing or we'll be caught." Lyra nodded, eyes focused. "I will guide you through." The Vanguard surged backward, narrowly avoiding the first pulse of the net. Ryan twisted the controls sharply, weaving the ship in unpredictable angles while Lyra called out warnings of weak points in the net. Sparks and energy discharges lit the cockpit as the net strained against their hull. Ryan's hands moved with practiced precision. Every twist, every turn was calculated, but instinct played a critical role. One mistake, one miscalculation would trap them permanently. The ship shuddered violently as it tore through the final strands of the energy net. Ryan let out a breath, adrenaline pumping through his veins. Lyra's voice was calm, but there was a hint of relief. "You are extraordinary. Most would have been trapped or destroyed." Ryan smirked, though his chest heaved from the effort. "Humans survive. It's kind of our thing." The patrol ships, unable to follow safely through the energy net and asteroid belt, began to fall back. Ryan allowed the Vanguard to glide to a safer path, engines returning to steady hum. Lyra leaned back in her seat, her expression thoughtful. Your species, you do not rely solely on technology. You rely on creativity, courage, and quick decision-making. That is why you survive where others would fail. Ryan gave a small nod. It's instinct. Training helps, but sometimes you just act, and you adapt. That's what humans do best. For a moment, they both sat in silence, the hum of the engines the only sound in the cockpit. The chase was far from over, but they had survived another test. Ryan felt a growing respect for Lyra. She was not just a stowaway or a fugitive. She was a strategist, a partner, and a valuable ally. Suddenly, the sensors pinged again. A new signal appeared, stronger and more direct. Ryan's brow furrowed. They're back, and this time they're not holding back. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Then we must prepare for direct confrontation. We cannot outrun them forever. We need strategy, ingenuity, and precision. Together we can survive. Ryan's hands tightened on the controls. Then let's give them something they cannot predict. The Vanguard surged forward into open space, ready to face the next wave of pursuers. Ryan's mind raced, calculating angles, potential maneuvers, and escape strategies. Lyra sat beside him, eyes scanning every sensor, every signal, anticipating the enemy's next move. The galaxy stretched ahead, full of danger, opportunity, and uncertainty. But Ryan knew one thing with absolute certainty. Humans were unpredictable, resourceful, and unstoppable when their survival and freedom were on the line. And with Lyra at his side, he felt a rare confidence that they could overcome anything, even a civilization that believed themselves invincible. Together, they would survive. Together, they would prove that human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability were forces even the most advanced civilizations could not anticipate. And the chase was only beginning. The Vanguard moved steadily through the dark expanse of space, but the calm was only temporary. Captain Ryan Hale leaned forward in the pilot's chair, eyes flicking between the sensors and the distant stars. The alien patrols were relentless. They had regained their composure after the asteroid belt and energy net encounter, and now they were approaching with a renewed strategy. Ryan knew that outsmarting them required more than reflexes and instinct. It required thinking ahead, predicting moves that even the aliens didn't expect. Lyra sat across from him, her luminous eyes scanning the display screens, her mind clearly processing calculations faster than any human computer could manage. They are changing tactics, she said quietly. They no longer follow the predictable chase. They are dividing into groups. One will distract us while the others attempt a direct interception. It is a coordinated strike. Ryan's jaw tightened. Figures, they don't quit, and neither do we. He glanced at her. You've faced this kind of pursuit before, haven't you? Lyra nodded, her expression serious. Yes, my civilization is unforgiving. If you refuse your designated path, they hunt you with persistence. I have survived attempts before, but this is different. You are unlike anyone I've met. Ryan gave a small smile. I'll take that as a compliment. They both fell silent, but the tension in the cockpit was tangible. Every signal, every blip on the radar could mean danger. Ryan adjusted the Vanguard's shields, preparing for any sudden attacks. He had survived countless firefights, but he had learned that space battles were won as much by planning and adaptability as by firepower. Minutes later, a warning ping sounded, sharper than any before. Ryan leaned closer to the controls. They've activated a long-range net. It's designed to disable propulsion. If we pass through it, we'll be trapped. Lyra's eyes narrowed. It is clever. They have learned from our previous moves, but they still underestimate your unpredictability. We can counter it. Ryan raised an eyebrow. How? You must approach it as if you have no plan, she said. The net detects calculated movement. If you vary your speed and trajectory randomly while keeping their sensors out of sync, we can pass without triggering it. Ryan felt a rush of adrenaline. All right, let's do it. He adjusted the Vanguard's thrusters, creating a complex pattern of acceleration and deceleration. The ship twisted and spiraled unpredictably, with Lyra guiding him through tiny gaps in the net that sensors alone could not detect. Sparks flared on the hull as the energy field grazed the ship, but Ryan's instinctive maneuvers kept them safe. When they finally emerged, both of them exhaled, though the danger was far from over. Ryan stole a glance at Lyra. You make this look easy. Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. I know the technology, but your instincts make the difference. Humans, you surprise even the most advanced systems. Ryan smirked. Glad to know we're still underestimated. The brief respite gave him a moment to ask the question that had been on his mind. Lyra, why did you really escape? You've said it's because of the marriage, but something tells me there's more. Lyra's eyes flickered, a shadow crossing her features. There is more. My world is not as simple as you might think. The marriage was only part of it. Some factions seek to control me because of what I know, not just who I am. Ryan leaned forward, curiosity piqued. What do you mean? Lyra hesitated, then spoke carefully. I have knowledge of strategies, secrets, and locations that could change the balance of power in my civilization. I refused the marriage because it was a tool to make me obey. Those who wanted me silenced or controlled are now hunting me. Ryan's eyes narrowed. So you're saying we're in the middle of a political game you didn't ask for? Yes, she admitted, and surviving it requires ingenuity, courage, and allies who can act unpredictably. Ryan nodded slowly, the pieces falling into place. Then we're not just running. We're part of something bigger, something dangerous. Lyra's gaze was steady. Yes, and you have proven that humans can survive when others would fail. That is why I trust this alliance. Ryan felt a surge of respect and responsibility. He wasn't just saving a life, he was helping preserve knowledge that could shift an entire civilization. The stakes were higher than he had imagined, and yet the challenge invigorated him. The sensors beeped again, more urgently this time. Ryan froze. They're attempting to flank us. 2 patrol ships are approaching from a vector we didn't anticipate. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. They adapted faster than I predicted. We must act immediately. Ryan's hands flew over the controls. He initiated a series of evasive maneuvers, spiraling and twisting through the nearby asteroid field. The 2 patrol ships followed cautiously, their sensors unable to fully track the unpredictable path. Sparks flared from near misses as debris collided with the alien hulls. Lyra guided him through every obstacle, calling out warnings and weak points in the patrol ship's formation. Left, now right, brace for gravitational pull on the next cluster. Ryan followed her commands flawlessly. His instincts and Lyra's insight worked together seamlessly, creating a choreography that neither human nor alien had anticipated. By the time they cleared the field, the patrol ships were battered, confused, and falling behind. You humans, Lyra said, her voice tinged with admiration. Your adaptability is extraordinary. I have never seen anything like it. Ryan allowed himself a brief smile. It's what we do. We improvise. We survive. Lyra's expression softened, but her eyes were still sharp. And yet there is more to you. You think beyond survival. You see possibilities others miss. That is rare even among humans. Ryan chuckled softly. I guess it comes with practice. The quiet returned, but it was a fragile peace. Ryan knew the alien pursuers would not give up. They had resources, technology, and determination. But he also knew that humans had something they could not predict: ingenuity, courage, and the willingness to act when no path seemed safe. Minutes later, Ryan noticed a faint energy signature on the sensors. Something's coming, he muttered. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Yes, they are not patrol ships this time. It is a direct assault vessel, their strongest. If it catches us, we cannot outrun it. Ryan's mind raced. Then we'll have to outthink it. And maybe teach it a lesson in human unpredictability. The assault vessel emerged from the shadows, massive and imposing, its hull bristling with weapons. Ryan felt the familiar rush of adrenaline, the challenge sparking every instinct he had. He adjusted the shields, calculated trajectories, and prepared for a confrontation that required more than skill. It required wit, strategy, and courage. Lyra leaned close. We can disable its targeting systems if we force it through a gravitational anomaly. Follow my instructions exactly, Ryan nodded. I trust you. Together, they executed a daring maneuver. The Vanguard weaved through a cluster of asteroids near a small planet, using the gravitational pull to alter their trajectory unpredictably. The assault vessel followed, miscalculating the forces at play. Ryan's timing was perfect, Lyra's guidance flawless. The enemy ship's targeting systems overloaded, causing it to spin uncontrollably. Ryan allowed himself a brief grin. That's what I'm talking about. Lyra's eyes sparkled with approval. Humans, you are extraordinary. Survival is more than instinct. It is creativity, courage, and determination. That is why you succeed. Ryan's grin faded into a determined expression. And it's why we keep moving forward. They'll regroup, but we'll be ready, together. The Vanguard surged forward into open space, engines blazing with renewed energy. Ryan adjusted the course, eyes scanning for any sign of danger. Lyra's presence beside him was reassuring, her calm confidence complementing his instincts perfectly. For the first time, Ryan understood the truth behind Lyra's trust. Humans survived not because they were the strongest, fastest, or most technologically advanced. They survived because they adapted, improvised, and acted decisively when faced with impossible odds. And now, in the company of Lyra, he realized that their combined strengths made them nearly unstoppable. As the stars stretched endlessly before them, Ryan allowed himself a moment of reflection. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of surprises. But humans, he thought, had a way of turning even the most impossible situations to their advantage. Lyra turned her gaze to him, her eyes reflecting the distant light of a nearby star. "You will survive this chase, Ryan Hale. And perhaps you will change the course of more than one civilization along the way." Ryan smiled, a rare, confident smile. "We'll see, Lyra, but one thing is for sure, humans don't give up, and neither do I." The vanguard sped forward, leaving the nebula and asteroid fields behind. The pursuit continued, the stakes higher than ever, but Ryan and Lyra were ready. The galaxy was unpredictable, dangerous, and full of challenges, but together they were unstoppable. And the real test of human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability was only beginning. The vanguard surged through the starlit void, engines humming with purpose. Captain Ryan Hale gripped the controls, eyes darting between the sensor readouts and the distant, blinking lights of pursuing ships. The chase had lasted longer than he expected, but now the enemy was bringing everything they had. He could feel it, every maneuver, every blip on the monitor signaled determination. These were no ordinary patrols. This was the full force of a civilization intent on reclaiming Lyra. Lyra sat beside him, calm but alert, her luminous eyes reflecting the blinking lights of approaching vessels. "They have coordinated their attack," she said. "This is their final attempt. If we fail, there will be no next chance." Ryan exhaled slowly. "Good thing humans are never predictable," he glanced at her. "Ready to put that to the test?" She gave a faint smile. "Always." Ryan adjusted the Vanguard's shields, rerouting power to the thrusters and weapons. He had prepared for desperate maneuvers before, but this required more than skill. It demanded ingenuity, courage, and flawless teamwork. They had come too far to fail now. The first wave of enemy ships approached with lethal precision. Their weapons glowed, energy signatures cutting through the darkness, ready to strike. Ryan's instincts kicked in. He twisted the controls, weaving the Vanguard between asteroids and cosmic debris. The enemy's targeting systems struggled to keep pace with the unpredictable movement. Lyra guided him through every hazard, pointing out gaps in the patrol formations and warning of unexpected gravitational shifts. "Left, now, brace for sudden pull." Ryan executed each maneuver flawlessly. His mind worked like a machine, anticipating enemy strategies and improvising in ways no computer could replicate. Sparks flew across the hull as energy blasts grazed the ship, but he held steady. Humans survived because they adapted. Humans survived because they acted when others hesitated. The patrol ships attempted a coordinated pincer movement, trying to force the Vanguard into open space. Ryan anticipated their plan and made a sharp U-turn around a dense asteroid cluster. The enemy ships miscalculated the maneuver, colliding with smaller rocks and causing explosions that illuminated the darkness. Lyra's eyes widened in admiration. "Your instincts, they are remarkable. I have never seen a human pilot respond this effectively under such pressure." Ryan smirked. "Told you, humans are good at improvising." The second wave of pursuers was closing in faster than expected. Ryan realized that running alone would not save them this time. They had to fight smart. He glanced at Lyra. "We're going to have to turn the tables." Lyra tilted her head. "I have an idea. There is a derelict research station nearby. It is heavily shielded and abandoned. If we lure them there, we can use the station's automated defenses to our advantage." Ryan's grin widened. "Perfect." Humans love using the environment to fight smarter, not just harder. They altered course toward the station. The patrol ships detected the Vanguard's trajectory and followed, unaware of the trap awaiting them. Ryan's fingers flew over the controls, adjusting thrust, shields, and weapons in harmony. Lyra guided him through the plan, her knowledge of alien systems complementing his instinctive decision-making. As they approached the derelict station, Ryan activated the hidden automated defense systems. Turrets powered up, scanning for unauthorized vessels. The patrol ships entered the station's perimeter, their sensors immediately triggering the defenses. Energy beams erupted from the station, striking the pursuers and causing chaos. Ryan maneuvered the Vanguard through the destruction, weaving expertly between blasts. The alien ships struggled to adjust to the unexpected attack. Lyra called out weak points in their formations, directing Ryan to exploit gaps and vulnerabilities. By the time the last patrol ship attempted an escape, the station's defenses had disabled its engines. Ryan and Lyra were free, their pursuers neutralized for the moment. The relief in the cockpit was palpable, though Ryan remained cautious. He knew this victory was temporary, the galaxy was vast, and other threats could emerge at any moment. Lyra turned to him, her eyes reflecting genuine admiration. Humans, you do not rely solely on technology or strategy. You rely on courage, intuition, and adaptability. That is why you survived. That is why we survived. Ryan nodded slowly. It's what humans do. We improvise, we adapt, and we never give up. And sometimes we get lucky. Lyra's smile was faint but sincere. Luck alone would not have sufficed. It was your ingenuity, your quick thinking, your willingness to act when no path seemed safe. That is uniquely human. Ryan leaned back, letting the tension ease slightly. The derelict station glowed faintly against the backdrop of stars, silent and abandoned, yet now a symbol of human and alien cooperation. He stole a glance at Lyra. I have to admit you're impressive too. You know their systems, their strategies, and you trust me enough to work with me. Lyra's eyes met his. Trust is earned in situations like this. You have earned it, Ryan Hale, and together we are stronger than they anticipated. Ryan allowed himself a small smile. Then let's make sure they never forget it. The Vanguard moved away from the station, engines humming steadily. The galaxy stretched endlessly ahead, full of dangers and unknowns, but Ryan felt a sense of confidence he had not experienced before. Humans survived because they were resourceful. Humans survived because they adapted when others expected them to fail. And now, with Lyra at his side, he realized that they could overcome even the most advanced threats. Minutes later, a new signal appeared on the sensors, an incoming message from Lyra's allies. Their ships emerged from the distance, sleek and agile, cutting through space with precision. Lyra's eyes lit up. They have come. They will escort us to safety. Ryan felt a mixture of relief and pride. Looks like we made it, he said, though he remained vigilant. But remember, this is just one battle. Lyra nodded. Yes, but it is a crucial one. We have proven that human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability are forces that even my civilization underestimated. As the Allied ships approached, Ryan and Lyra prepared to rendezvous. The patrols were gone for now, defeated by strategy, improvisation, and teamwork. Ryan guided the Vanguard carefully, ensuring a smooth approach. Lyra monitored the communications, coordinating with her people to secure safe passage. Once they docked, Lyra's allies boarded the ship. Ryan noticed their cautious yet respectful demeanor. He realized that his species had earned recognition in a universe that often underestimated humanity. Humans survived because they were unpredictable, resourceful, and courageous. That truth had been proven not just in their escape, but in every maneuver, every decision, and every risk Ryan had taken. Lyra turned to him one final time before stepping away. Thank you, Ryan Hale. You have done more than save me. You have shown what humans are capable of, what we often underestimate. You have changed the course of events that could have altered civilizations. Ryan shrugged modestly. Just doing what comes naturally. Humans survive, Lyra, that's what we do. Lyra smiled faintly, then disappeared into the corridor leading to her allies. Ryan watched her go, feeling a mixture of relief, pride, and curiosity. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and unknown threats, but he knew one thing clearly: humans were never to be underestimated. Their courage, adaptability, and ingenuity could turn impossible situations into victories. As the Vanguard moved back into open space, Ryan allowed himself a rare moment to reflect. The stars stretched endlessly before him, silent witnesses to the journey he had undertaken. He had faced a civilization that thought humans were predictable. He had survived ambushes, traps, and relentless pursuit. And he had succeeded, not through superior technology, but through ingenuity, courage, and the unpredictable power of the human mind. The hum of the engines was steady and reassuring. Ryan leaned back in the pilot's chair, fingers lightly resting on the controls. Space was still dangerous, still unpredictable, but for the first time in a long time, he felt a sense of purpose beyond mere survival. Humans were capable of incredible things. Humans were unstoppable when their freedom and ingenuity were tested. And now, with Lyra and her allies safe, Ryan knew that their story was far from over. There would be new challenges, new dangers, and new battles, but humanity had proven its worth once again. He allowed himself a small, confident smile. The galaxy could try to predict humans, but they would always fail. Because humans were more than technology, more than strength. They were unpredictable, adaptable, and endlessly resourceful. And that was exactly why they survived. The vanguard surged forward, leaving the remnants of the battle behind, engines humming with quiet determination. Ryan Hale looked ahead, eyes bright with anticipation. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and mysteries. But humans would continue to survive, adapt, and thrive, no matter what the universe threw at them. And somewhere out there, beyond the stars, Lyra watched and understood the same truth. Humanity was unstoppable.